Ensuring compliance with ISO 14971 in risk management. Question: what steps should be taken to ensure that the risk management process complies with ISO 14971? Ensuring compliance with ISO 14971 involves implementing a structured risk management framework that aligns with the standard's requirements. This includes 1. Establishing a risk management process. A documented procedure must be in place covering risk analysis, risk evaluation, risk control, and residual risk assessment. The process must be applicable throughout the device lifecycle, from design to post-market surveillance. 2. Defining risk acceptance criteria. Risk acceptability must be clearly defined based on severity and probability thresholds. The organization should establish a risk-benefit analysis to justify any residual risks. 3. Maintaining a risk management file, RMF. All risk-related activities, assessments, and control measures must be systematically recorded. The RMF must include hazard identification, risk mitigation measures, and post-market surveillance updates. 4. Implementing risk control measures. Design modifications, protective mechanisms, user training, and labeling must be incorporated as control measures. Verification of control effectiveness must be conducted to ensure risk reduction. 5. Post-market surveillance, PMS, and CAPA integration. Continuous monitoring of field performance, adverse events, and user feedback ensures that new risks are identified. CAPA, corrective and preventive actions, processes should be used to address emerging risks proactively. 6. Regular reviews and internal audits. Periodic risk management reviews and audits ensure alignment with ISO 14971. Any changes in regulations or product modifications should trigger a reassessment of risk. By implementing these steps, medical device manufacturers ensure that their risk management practices align with ISO 14971 requirements, leading to safer products and regulatory compliance. Below is an example of how a risk management report for a pacemaker is structured, covering key elements such as hazards, harms, risk evaluation, control measures, and residual risk assessment. The first section of a risk management report provides details about the medical device and its intended use. For a pacemaker, this means describing it as an implanted medical device designed to regulate abnormal heart rhythms by delivering electrical impulses to the heart. This information sets the foundation for risk assessment, ensuring that all identified hazards and risks are evaluated within the context of how the device is meant to function. 2. Hazard identification. Next, we list potential hazards. These are anything that could cause harm to the patient. For a pacemaker, some key hazards include electrical failure, which could result in loss of pacing, battery depletion, leading to device shutdown, software malfunction, which could cause incorrect pacing, lead fracture, disrupting the signal from the device to the heart, electromagnetic interference, EMI, which can temporarily disrupt pacemaker function if the patient is exposed to strong electromagnetic fields, e.g., MRI machines or industrial equipment. Identifying these hazards early allows us to systematically assess the potential risks associated with the device. 3. Hazardous situations and potential harms. Each hazard can lead to a hazardous situation, meaning a set of circumstances in which the device could fail and potentially harm the patient. For example, if the battery fails, the pacemaker may stop functioning, which could result in cardiac arrest. If the software malfunctions, it may deliver pacing at an incorrect rate, causing arrhythmias or discomfort. A lead fracture may cause inconsistent pacing, leading to dizziness, fainting, or even heart failure. This section helps us link the failure modes of the device to real-world consequences that could impact patient health. HAR4, Risk Evaluation and Risk Priority Number, RPN. Once hazardous situations and potential harms are identified, we assess their risk level. This is done by calculating the Risk Priority Number, RPN, using 3 factors. Severity. S, how serious is the harm? Rated 1 to 5, with 5 being critical. Probability of occurrence. O, how likely is it to happen? Rated 1 to 5, with 5 being highly likely. Detectability. D, how easy is it to detect the issue before it causes harm? Rated 1 to 5, with 5 meaning difficult to detect. For example, if a lead fracture occurs, it could cause serious harm. Severity equals 5, happens occasionally, occurrence equals 3, and is somewhat detectable. Detectability equals 2. The RPN is calculated as RPN equals severity's occurrence, and detectability equals 5 times 3, 2 equals 30. The higher the RPN, the higher the priority for implementing risk controls. Risk control measures and residual risk assessment. Once we identify high-risk scenarios, we introduce risk control measures to reduce the likelihood or impact of harm. Examples for a pacemaker include, for battery depletion, adding a redundant battery system and a low battery alarm to warn users. For software failure, conducting rigorous verification and validation testing and implementing real-time monitoring algorithms. For lead fractures, using high durability materials and performing mechanical stress testing. After implementing these control measures, we reassess the risk and calculate a new lower RPN to check if the mitigation was effective. For example, after improving lead durability, the probability of fracture might drop from 3 to 2, reducing the RPN from stock 30 to 20. 6. Risk-benefit analysis. Even after applying risk controls, some residual risks remain. This is where we conduct a risk-benefit analysis, a critical step to justify why the device is still safe to use. For a pacemaker, the benefits of regulating heart rhythms and preventing sudden cardiac arrest significantly outweigh the residual risks, as long as patients follow recommended checkups and monitoring. 7. Risk communication, labeling and instructions for use, IFU. Risk management doesn't just involve design improvements. It also includes informing users and healthcare providers about potential risks. This is done through warnings in the instructions for use, SARS, and STAR and TA device labeling. For a pacemaker, important warnings might include regular checkups are required to monitor battery status and device performance. Pacemaker function may be affected by strong electromagnetic fields. Avoid close contact with MRI machines, industrial welding equipment, or high-voltage power lines. These warnings ensure that patients and clinicians are aware of device limitations and how to use it safely. A risk management report is not just a regulatory requirement. It is a living document that ensures patient safety throughout the entire life cycle of a medical device.